Can you hear that? A faint sound, like a knock echoing from the other side of reality. Not from someone alive, but from a soul you once knew. Someone who once promised they would never come back. Someone you thought you'd never have to face again. But tonight, they are returning. Not to hurt you, but to return a piece of memory, a piece of truth, and a message from the universe. And if you're listening to this, Sagittarius, please don't walk away. Because what is about to be revealed is not just a story. It is a sacred code written in the very fabric of your destiny. I am someone who reads the silent scriptures of the sky, where every planetary movement is more than science. It is a message from an invisible world. And today, I see a strange convergence in your birth chart, a signal that something you tried to forget is finding its way back. If you feel your heart stirring as you hear this, leave a message in the comments. I am ready to receive the returning soul and step into the destiny that is opening for me. This is not just a sentence, it is a spiritual act, a way to connect with the frequency that's guiding you back onto your true path. And if you believe that nothing in this life is a coincidence, then like this video, share it, and let this healing energy ripple into the hearts of others who might also be waiting for a sign. Let's begin. Because the door has just opened, and someone is standing on the other side. Sagittarius, you are not someone who lives only in the present. You live with a heart that sets sail into what's ahead, with a soul that aches for things unseen, untouched, yet already deeply alive in your intuition. You are the sign of the journey, not just the outer one, but the inward one as well. You can stand by the ocean and still hear the whisper of a memory from a part of your soul that few dare to enter. I've read hundreds of Sagittarius charts, and there's one thing I've never seen change: your longing for truth, woven into a heart that bruises easily. You are strong, but not because you've never felt pain. You're strong because you've learned to carry that pain far, quietly. Let me say this, not as a teacher, but as a soul who has walked through fire. Not every wound needs to be healed right away. Sometimes, a wound is the very doorway to a new reality. One not based on assumptions, but rooted in truth. And the truth right now is this: something is returning. Someone is making their way back. Not to cling, not to disrupt, but to complete a circle that was never finished. Have you ever felt that? That strange pull, as if your soul, even after walking so far, keeps looking over its shoulder at a memory, an unfinished sentence, a glance that still echoes, a touch that lingers through the decades? That is the mark of a soul. And only those with a soul as open as yours, Sagittarius, can truly feel it. You don't love halfway. You don't connect carelessly. Everyone who walks into your life comes with a purpose. And when they leave without fulfilling it, sooner or later, their soul will find its way back to you. I remember once reading the chart of a Sagittarius woman. She had carried a silence in her heart for over 20 years. The man who had been the love of her life had vanished. No goodbye, no explanation, no trace. And yet, she always felt he hadn't truly disappeared. And she was right. 20 years later, on the exact day Saturn entered the 8th house in her chart, he returned. Not to apologize, but to tell the part of the story she never knew, a part of the truth she was never told. And when the story ended, her tears did not fall from pain, but from the peace of knowing that, finally, everything had closed in the light. When someone returns after a long time, the question isn't, why now? The real question is, am I ready to receive this? Sagittarius, you are not someone who lives in the past, but you never ignore the lessons it brings. You know that everyone who enters your life is a teacher, and the one who returns is often the final lesson before you can step into a new chapter with true freedom. You've sacrificed so much. You've forgiven things no one else ever knew. You've smiled while your heart was breaking, and still you held on to hope, even when others said you were crazy for being too optimistic. But deep down, you've always known the truth. Light only finds those who are brave enough to believe in it, even in the dark. If this part of the story gently touches something in you, write this sentence in the comments below. I receive this return not to revisit the past, but to step into the destiny waiting for me. Because when you write it down, you allow the old energy to be released. You close a door with gratitude and step through another with a heart at peace. The lesson for you today isn't about learning to forget. It's about remembering in the right way so you no longer stay trapped inside it. This return, whatever form it takes, a person, a dream, a feeling, is opening a path for you to walk into a different kind of reality. A place where you no longer need to carry everything. No longer have to pretend you're okay. No longer have to be the strongest person in every room. And why? Because you've already learned enough. Because the final test is coming to an end. And you are being prepared to receive a reward that only those who've remained faithful to the light can truly receive. So take a deep breath, Sagittarius, and allow yourself to believe in miracles one more time. Because that miracle is knocking on your door. And when you're ready, we will step deeper into a sacred astrological mystery, where Saturn's movements and karmic intersections whisper something you've needed to hear for a long time. Someone never truly left, and tonight they are on their way back. There's a strange truth in astrology that not everyone understands. The planets do not control us. They simply reflect what's happening deep within our souls on a level that words, actions, or memory can't always reach. And in recent months, a great shift has been unfolding. A cycle of Saturn, the planet of karma, limitation, maturity, and time, is moving through key positions in your Sagittarius chart. For those unfamiliar, Saturn is often misunderstood as the planet that brings trouble. But for me, and for anyone who has passed Saturn's tests, I know it doesn't come to destroy, it comes to complete. And sometimes what needs completing is a promise from the past. In a Sagittarius chart, when Saturn forms an aspect with the South Node, it's a sign that an old karmic loop is preparing to close. A soul connection once buried, a memory once hidden, is being summoned back, not to repeat, but to end with grace. I believe the universe remembers. And every time we leave an emotion unresolved, every time we refuse to truly forgive, every time we avoid the truth, that energy continues to spin through our lives for 10 years, 20, or 3 lifetimes. Sometimes, you think you've moved on, but then, on a quiet night, you hear an old song, you dream of someone you thought you'd forgotten, and your chest tightens, and you don't even know why. That's not weakness. That's your soul responding to a sacred cycle that is nearing its completion. There's something I always remind myself. Saturn's lessons never arrive too early. They only show up when your soul is mature enough to ask the right question. Not, why are they back now? But rather, what did I learn from the moment they left? Maybe they truly will return. A message, a phone call, an unexpected encounter. Or maybe they'll appear in a dream, in a spark of intuition, in a memory so vivid you forget it isn't happening right now. But either way, this return isn't coming from outside of you. It's unfolding within, in the part of you that was never fully healed. If you've ever felt that sense of something not quite over, yet not entirely clear either, then take a moment and leave this simple sentence in the comments. I am ready to release what no longer belongs to me. That small action could be the very beginning of a much greater closing. I once guided a Sagittarius client through a Saturn retrograde. He had parted ways with his partner 12 years earlier. They went separate paths, no more contact, no more words. And yet, he had never been able to love anyone fully since. In the year Saturn returned to its original position in his chart, she came back. Not to rekindle romance, but to return a notebook he had lost a decade ago. Inside that notebook was a page left blank, a page he now felt ready to finally write. Every relationship in your life, no matter how brief, no matter how painful, has meaning. Not everyone who enters is meant to stay. But those who once touched your heart, their soul leaves behind something that only time can make clear. And when that time comes, when Saturn quietly knocks on your door, you'll know. You'll feel something closing, not with a slam, but with a quiet breath, as if you've just let go of a weight you forgot you were carrying. And if this lesson is touching something deep inside you right now, pause for a moment, breathe slowly, and write down the one thing you're ready to let go of. In the comments below. Not for me to read, but for you to give yourself a sacred act of release. Sagittarius, you were not born to be stuck. You were born to soar. But sometimes to continue the journey, you must untie the invisible cord that's been holding your ankle since a past life, or a memory left unhealed. And that is what's happening now, in this very moment. As you're listening, a cycle is ending, an ancient promise is unraveling. A soul is drawing near, not to demand, but to complete. So what happens when that soul truly knocks on your door tonight? Not in human form, but in a dream, in a breeze brushing the back of your neck, in a song from the past that plays at the exact right moment. Will you be ready to recognize it? Stay with me, because in the next part, I'll share with you one of the most powerful signs of return, where dream, intuition, and the vows of the soul collide in sacred silence. And what you thought had ended may just begin again, in a way you never expected. Have you ever woken in the middle of the night with the feeling that someone just called your name? No one was there, no real sound, just a faint chill grazing your neck and your heart suddenly racing, as if your body had just received a message your mind couldn't yet translate. If that has ever happened to you, you are not alone. And no, you are not imagining it. You are witnessing the presence of a soul, a piece of memory, a fragment of a bond that once ran deep, making its return. In astrology, when the moon, ruler of emotion and the subconscious, forms a harmonious aspect to Neptune or Pluto, these are known as gateway dreams. Dreams that aren't just images, they're doors. And sometimes those dreams aren't even yours. A woman once wrote to me, "I saw a man sitting at the end of my bed. He didn't say a word, but I knew it was my father, even though he passed away 15 years ago. He just sat there, smiling, and vanished the moment I reached out to touch him." These dreams don't come to hurt you. They come to let you know that a part of your soul is ready to be returned. A part that was never truly lost, just waiting for the right time. And what about the knock? You'd be surprised how many people have heard knocks in the middle of the night, only to find no one at the door. 3 knocks. Sometimes just a single soft sound, a tap barely loud enough to notice, yet enough to still you. In many ancient spiritual traditions, especially in Jewish and Christian mysticism, 3 knocks symbolize a soul seeking its way home. Not to scare you, but to ask, are you ready to open the door? Someone once told me, I never believed in anything spiritual until that night when I heard 3 knocks. I opened the door and no one was there. But a few minutes later, I received a message from my ex, after 7 years of complete silence. I don't share this to scare you. I share it so you can listen to your own heart. Because Sagittarius, you're not like other signs. Your intuition is sharp. You sense energy long before others do, even if you can't always explain it. And the most important thing is this: you are always protected. If that soul is returning, they're returning for a reason. Maybe to say sorry. Maybe to close a chapter that never got its ending. Or maybe to help you retrieve a part of yourself you didn't even know you lost when they walked away. If you've ever had a strange dream, a spiritual encounter, a moment you couldn't explain, don't be afraid to share it in the comments. I've felt the presence of a familiar soul. That sentence isn't just a confirmation, it's a signal, a way for your energy to connect with others who are also walking their quiet path of healing. Because the truth is, you are not alone. And when you write that down, you're opening a small door for soul light to enter. Someone once asked me, how do I know if it's a good spirit? How do I know not to be afraid? And I answered, if your heart doesn't feel fear, if you feel warmth and peace, then it's not imagination, it's a sacred presence. You don't need to see in order to believe. You only need to feel. Because intuition is the language the soul uses when words fall short. And finally, if tonight you hear the wind whispering through the trees, or a window frame tremble for no reason, or something you can't quite name, makes you stop for just a second. Don't brush it off. Don't reason it away. Because souls don't always get a second chance to return at the exact moment your heart is finally ready. Stay with me, because in the next part, you'll see how the universe is using your very own birth chart to unlock the past and bring you closer to your true destiny. And when that moment comes, you'll understand why what seemed like an ending was always meant to be the beginning of something greater. Dear Sagittarius, I know you've been strong for a very long time. You smiled when your heart was full of cracks. You kept walking when everything around you was begging you to stop. You kept believing in miracles, even when no one else did. And that, my friend, is the most beautiful thing about you. And now I want to tell you something. From one soul to another, with all the love and respect I carry, you don't have to hold it all anymore. You don't have to prove that you're okay. You are enough, even in your unfinished form. Maybe you thought you had escaped the past, that you'd locked that door, buried those memories deep enough. But the truth is, what belongs to you will never leave. And what does not, no matter how tightly you hold it, will always fade. There's nothing to fear here, only the universe gently inviting you to return to yourself, to finish, to heal, to become who you were always meant to be. You are Sagittarius. Born with a hunger for expansion, not just of territory or ideas, but of soul. You chase the truth even when it hurts. You move, not to run away, but to seek. And today, that journey is no longer outward. It's folding inward, back to your own heart. This is no longer the time to ask, where should I go next? But rather, what am I finally ready to release? Because destiny does not come to those who keep running. It comes to those who are brave enough to stop and listen. If your heart is quietly aching with these words, take a breath and leave this commitment in the comments. I allow myself to heal and to live in truth with what my soul has longed for all along. That sentence is more than a declaration. It's an energetic act, a doorway for the universe to step in and walk with you. You are not the mistake of what happened, and you don't need to understand everything to have permission to let it go. What you need is to allow yourself to be loved, unconditionally, without limits, without having to earn it. Destiny doesn't arrive in the way most people imagine. It doesn't appear like a burst of radiant light. It comes quietly, like a pause, a sigh, a single moment when you whisper, "I'm tired, but I still choose the light." And when you say that, the universe listens. And the path ahead, no matter how winding or dark, begins to glow, one step at a time. Give yourself time, Sagittarius. You don't have to rush, because light never hurries. It simply waits for you to remember you are always worthy of it. In the next part, you'll be invited into a gentle but powerful ritual, a way to finally close an old vow and open a new door for your soul to walk through. Don't leave just yet, because this may be the moment you've been waiting for all along. There is a kind of farewell that never ends with goodbye. It simply lingers and stays. Not in your everyday life, but in sudden moments, clear, unexpected, and sharp enough to make your chest ache. Maybe it was the one who swore they'd never leave. Maybe it was the one who never told you why they disappeared. Maybe it's the person you still pray for at night, even if your lips no longer say their name. I believe that Sagittarius souls are keepers of memory. You don't forget easily. No matter how far you travel, no matter how carefree you pretend to be, you carry a piece of them. A sentence left unsaid, a glance, a truth never given voice. And today, I want to invite you to do something simple, but deeply sacred. Write a letter to that person, not to send, not for anyone to read, just you and the truth. Write everything you never had the chance to say. Write the pain, the disappointment, the longing, the lessons you learned after they left. And when you're done, end with one line: I forgive, I release, and I give myself permission to move forward. You may not have heard anyone say this before, but I believe it with all my heart. Forgiveness is not for them. It's a gift you give to yourself. So you no longer live in the shadow of what cannot be changed. I once held on to an unhealed memory. I thought I'd let it go, but it wasn't until I sat down, wrote a letter to no one, and let my tears fall freely onto the page that I realized I had never truly released it. And do you know what happened next? Only after I let it go did something new begin to arrive. If your heart knows it's time, leave a quiet promise in the comments below. I choose to free my heart from what has held it too long. No one else needs to understand what you mean. It only matters that you know you are doing it for you. The greatest lesson I've learned on this path was never found in an apology. It was in the quiet growth of a soul that realized some people only come to help you love yourself more deeply, and then they leave. And the most beautiful part is, you no longer blame them for it. You see, Sagittarius, your journey isn't about holding on to someone. It's about holding on to yourself, no matter who comes or who goes. You don't need anyone to confirm your worth. You are light, even when no one shines a spotlight on you. You have always been enough in your own unique way. And when you walk through this next door with a lighter heart, you'll realize what you thought was a loss was actually a release. And if you're asking, after all this letting go, what will I receive? Stay, because the final part will reveal the gift the universe has been saving for you, waiting for the moment you were finally ready. And you know what? I feel that moment is closer than ever. Not everyone who leaves is to be blamed, and not every return is meant to continue. Some people show up just to give you a lesson and vanish as if they were never there. But the hardest part is carrying them in your heart as a sentence never quite finished. So today, write them that letter. Not to send, not to share, just you and the truth from your heart. Write to let go, like loosening a thread that has been wrapped around your chest for years. Write, so you can live the rest of your life without carrying what was never yours to hold. Leave one final promise in the comments. I let go with gratitude and open my heart to what is truly mine. And if you truly feel ready, like this video, share it, and subscribe so you don't miss the final part, the gift the universe has been holding just for you.